Welcome once again to Living in the 21st Century. Joining me today is Vasyl Shavchenko, former Transportation Minister of Ukraine. Vasyl, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Thank you for having me. Thank you for invitation. Nice to see you.
You're more than welcome. I have, there are some of my guests who want to learn a little bit more about you. They're very impressed about your reporting here on what's going on in the Ukraine war. They would like for you to tell them a little bit more about yourself as a transportation minister.
I worked for transportation minister in my past. Then you know that I worked for social policy ministry. I was responsible for the sphere of veterans, and you know that it was time when Russians tried to support provocation in the two Ukrainian region, Lugansk and Donetsk region, and those time Ukraine first time faced with the challenges. And after that, with the government changing, I was invited to work as a government as advisor to the government. I worked for government those time, and now I'm working here in the sphere of relations concerning social policy. I can consult parliamentarian in this sphere on public ground.
Beautiful.
And yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Getting on to what's going on in Ukraine. Recently, Russia had launched more than 725 drones, I think it was, really bombarding Ukraine, taking out a lot of energy infrastructures. How does that look right now going into winter for the Ukrainians?
First of all, I'd say that today's blow is not heaviest blow, because 225 drones they launched, and Ukraine forces managed to intercept, it seems to me, 203 drones were shot down, and because of it they didn't manage to inflict serious consequences. And at the same time, their previous hit damaged power producing stations, and there was information that nuclear powered station was damaged, but officials haven't confirmed how deep it was done. But now in current day we have supplying electricity with breaks. We can see, for example, that different city has different type of switching on and switching off electricity. It depends on stations. If we speak about Kiev had different type of energy producing. First of all, it's two electrical power producing stations under communal services, and it was damaged. It seems to me 10 of October it was damaged, and it was partly destroyed. But now we have warm weather, and Ukrainians who can have managed to build house stations or power banks which allow to have electricity, and we haven't had heating providing, but according to the president promises, it can be switched on for the cities where living where it's impossible to work differently and to suspend the situation. And it means that current situation is not awful, except to Ukrainian city. First of all, Chernihiv city and Sumy city. It's bordering city which are under heavy shelling because Russians have started launching their drones differently. First of all, they started installing the so-called modems which are using mesh technology, and it allows to have Wi-Fi net which is spreading by different type of drone, including decoy drones, and this field allows them to have online drones running. It's similar to FPV drone, and they hit railway passenger stations, and they managed to hit Ukraine's passenger train in this region, and now railway connection between Sumy and Chernihiv was suspended because of threats. And now Ukrainian railway officials have a project how to equip locomotives to allow them to endure during these attacks. But if they hit this kind of drones with more than 50 kilos of explosion, I'm afraid it will be extremely dangerous, and I'm afraid they will make to stop connection with these cities. And I'd say that now they are targeting critical infrastructure just to prevent Ukraine forces providing military forces which are located at the battle line. And you know that close to the battle line, railway station are under shelling. For example, we have different type of locomotive. First of all, it's engine-powered locomotives and electrical locomotives, different type. It's alternative and current type of locomotives, and they have so-called pooling stations, and Russians are targeting this pooling station just to prevent using electrical type of locomotives, and to suspend providing Ukraine's military forces at the battle line. And nevertheless, we haven't had confirmation that they have many these kind of drones, and they decided to send to Ukraine their most experienced drone pilots, just to inflict serious blows. But Ukraine's forces have counter actions, and these current counter actions have been successful, and they tried to storm Ukraine's city in different places. And you know that Russia's president wanted to invite international journalists to travel to Ukraine to demonstrate that Ukraine's forces are surrounded in one city, and Ukraine's military forces officials informed that it was a lie, and Ukraine forces are still fighting, and they have no any threats. And they are difficult situation, but to strengthen Ukraine forces in this region were sent special forces fighters, and the situation is stabilized. And yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, that's okay. One thing I want to ask, because Putin is saying that sanctions ain't really ain't doing him anything, and it's just a minor economic setback, and it may cause inflation in oil prices worldwide, wherever taking his oil. And in the result of that, it doesn't matter how many sanctions that the United States and the Western world put on his government, that they're still going to succeed in this war. I am somewhat wondering, how could he facilitate this war, having access to so much drones to attack and still so much weaponry to fight with, and yet still known to the world at large, Russian economy is actually crumbling. It's in a bad state. How much longer do you think he can continue to facilitate this war and say enough is enough? What is your opinion?
Now I'd say that most effective sanctions, it's sanctions from military forces of Ukraine, which are eliminating Russia's refinery. And as far as I know, that most of Russia's refinery have been hit by Ukrainian forces, and it suspended them producing fuel, and now they don't have enough fuel for consumption in Russia Federation, especially for military forces. And then, if we speak about sanctions for Russia's main exporters, and I'd say that it was implemented by United States, I'd say that maybe it will suspend them if United States and partners will implement extra measures which would allow to control fulfilling these sanctions, because sanctions imposed for to entities and Russians are good in falsifications, and they can transmit this export volume in other companies, and they can export from different companies. And for this reason, we would like to see that United States could have control functions for oil exports from Russia Federation, because now we can see that three-fourths part of Russia's exports is under Western sanctions, because for Russia, companies, entities, persons have been imposed, it seems to me, 90,000 sanctions, but it doesn't have actual effect because of many reasons. For example, countries which are imposing these sanctions are interested in having having sanctions without impact for own economy, and as a result it has a low effect. For example, we can see that have been imposed many sanctions for natural gas exports, for oil export, for raw materials export, but it doesn't work effectively, for example, because of terms when it's imposed and when it will start working. And now we can see that discussions between Russia and their main partners, first of all China and North Korea and Iran, are still working without any problems, and they are still supplying to Russia Federation. Iran is supplying drones. North Korea is supplying Russia Federation ballistic missiles, which were restarted. For example, they received new warheads, and it has become more effective than it was before. And you know that China is not following Western sanctions, and now we can see that 60% of oil is being bought by China, and they are exporting it from their Far East seaports and are transporting to China by railway. I don't know how it will work further, but now we can see that they are able to work in this condition and having extra money for waging war, for weaponizing, for payments for mercenaries. You know that now we can see that many mercenaries were drafted by Russia Federation from Cuba, and Ukraine has cancelled diplomatic relations with Cuba, and there is only representative office because of working with the Russia Federation and sending soldiers to die in Ukraine. And yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. How effective would be Ukrainian soldiers trying to paralyze Russian infrastructure, military infrastructure, without the usage of long-range missiles? Sorry. Do the need now is more than ever for long-range missiles, and do you think the United States is getting close to releasing those missiles?
Now, I'd say that Ukraine's forces are able to launch 100 long-range drones to Russia's refinery and Russia's military planes, because Ukraine's forces are not hitting residential area, the only refinery, just to suspend their military forces fueling and military plants which are producing explosive materials and spare parts for military vehicles, for military sphere. And many of them were damaged, and you know that now we can see that Russia doesn't have enough fuel, and inside Russia Federation they have long queue at the petrol stations. They don't allow to have more than 20 liters for person in some regions, and Ukraine's forces are using only drones which are flying with a low speed, about 200 kilometers per hour. But now Ukraine is going to launch mass-producing long-range cruise missiles, because, you know, if Russia Federation is unable to intercept slowly flying long-range drones, we are sure that they will not be able to intercept flying the speed about 100,000 kilometers per hour cruise missiles, and effect from this blow will be different. During this war, Ukraine created and started producing two type cruise missiles, but we don't have enough money to produce 100 this missile just to have serious blow to Russia Federation, and it is not main weapon, because just for destroying Russia's infrastructure, military infrastructure objects and military objects, Ukraine's forces are scheduling different type of operation. First of all, Ukraine's forces are eliminating air defense systems, Russia Federation, and through this break are launching drones just to reach, for example, refineries or military objects which are located in the depths of Russia Federation, about 2,000 kilometers. And we have seen many objects which were damaged. We saw that refinery doesn't work, and this refinery don't have don't have equipment, because to change this equipment or repair this equipment, they must have it from Western countries. Chinese are not ready to cover this demand, because they are ready to sell Russia Federation and reinstall Chinese producing equipment, and it will take months or maybe years. And because of it, this action are effective. And you can see that when Russia starts speaking about threats from nuclear weapon or something similar, it means that they have to do nothing against Russia, against Ukraine's forces and partners who's supporting us in current situation. And we can see, for example, that a few days ago, just after meeting between United States President and Chinese leader Xi, they decided to launch old technology from the Soviet past missiles, which is able to fly for a long time. And they demonstrated that just like new technology, just to frighten our partners and to demonstrate technological domination. But we know that they don't have enough equipment, and they don't have enough ordinary equipment, because you know that cutting their income from oil exports is reflecting the opportunities to fight in Ukraine. And because of it, it seems to me they will be able to fight with Ukraine, and will try to demonstrate that they are successful maybe half a year or a year, but effects from their offensive operation is going down. For example, they are speaking about Ukrainian Pokrovsk city, and this city have been storming about 2 years. And 2 years they are storming one small Ukrainian city, and they are spreading lies that they have captured, and then Ukraine forces comment that it was a lie, and they are commenting again that they are going to capture. And you know that Ukraine forces can leave city, but when this city doesn't have any fortification which would allow to defend the city, because if the city has any building, any fortification which would allow Ukraine forces to deter Russia Federation, they are fighting. And very often Russia's soldiers are dying. Now, as far as I know, last information that for 1 square kilometers, Russia has up to 200 killed Russia soldiers.
Yeah, well, that's just a brief question, because I think it started earlier. As we approaches winter, and we may be in for a very brutal winter this time around, is there any preventative measures that the Ukrainian government is looking to assist the Ukrainians in sheltering themselves from the atmosphere? I ask that question because I know for a fact that a lot of Ukrainian energy infrastructure has also got strike, and people may be at risk to be exposed to the elements and get hypothermia. Are there shelters that the Ukrainians can go to during the winter time? How is that looking?
Now, I cannot say that we have built new shelters, or we have built new power station, and we received something more important than we had in 2022. But heaviest winter for Ukraine was 22-23. 3 years when Russians fully eliminated the Ukrainian infrastructure. In those times, Ukraine didn't have Western support, didn't have air defense systems, didn't have supplying electricity from European Union, didn't have natural gas supplying from European Union. We were suffering because of it, but we were ready to defend our country, and we managed to do it. Now we are experiencing. We know that we will have a lot of challenges, but luckily we hope that winter will be warm and we will not have serious frost which would damage our infrastructure. And company and people who has opportunity have bought generators, have installed the different alternative energy resources who can, and company which can, because you know that very often it's being destroyed. But nevertheless, we received from our partners mobile station which can provide heating when building is destroyed, and community which had enough money managed to buy alternative sources of energy for heating and alternative energy producing station. But now we hope that Russian Federation will not be able to to inflict serious flaw. And